All right, hey guys, we're going to talk about the reliability, the things that I like, the things that I don't like, all the stuff about the third gen. I own my 2022. You can see it here. This was a year ago. I did a review on this, but I had it all the way up until August of this year. Drove it for basically 20 months, put 58,000 miles on it. And I'm going to tell you a little bit, like I said, my honest to God opinion of what I think of this truck, the third gen Tacomas, what I love, what I hate. That's what we're going to basically dive into today. So I actually made a list and we're going to go through it. I'm going to let this video play in the background kind of here, a few video parts because I can show you some of the things we're talking about here. But this is my truck. This is a video. You can find these. I'll link them on the end of this for you as well too if you actually want to watch them. But this was a 2022 TRD off-road model, in the gray. I loved it. Like I said, it was a great truck. There's some pros and cons to it, though. Definitely some pros and cons. So I made a list here to make this simpler for us. So here's basically some of the things I loved about it. Reliability. The reliability of this thing was incredible. It's what I bought it for. When I bought this truck, I was just basically retiring, okay? I sold three of my four businesses, toned down the rest of them, moved from Michigan to Georgia. I didn't know how long it was going to take me to get on my feet, to get the content creation going between this channel, and I have another two channels that I do for bow hunting stuff. And it was kind of one of those things that I didn't know what was going to happen. So I figured buying a third gen Tacoma was a fail-safe for me as somebody who usually buys a new vehicle every year, okay, every other year. Being able to buy this truck meant that if I needed to hang on to it for 3, 4, 5 years, even as a 40,000 mile a year driver, I could, and I probably wouldn't have any problems. That was the beauty of it. The reliability is what made me buy this, okay? And it is my first Toyota truck, and it's always been that way because I've always thought they were a little quirky. Never been a huge fan of them in the past, but like I said, it was a great truck. The reliability is what sold me on it. That was the number one thing I wanted. These trucks are designed to go for many, many miles. They're trouble-free. They're old school. They're archaic. Yet they function and they work and they just keep going. They're like the Energizer Bunny. They just keep right on going. So I love this. So it was a fantastic truck. You can see I put Ironman 4x4 full skid plates all the way from the front all the way to the back to cover the panel up on it. I put RecGen floor mats on it. I put LED lights in it. There's those Ironman 4x4 skids that go across there all the way front, like I said, front to the back, all the way on there. But I really, like I said, the reliability is what sold me on this truck 100%. We'll skip past the parts I'm talking, so you're not going to hear it. And then the next thing on our list here was the light and nimbleness of this. This truck would go through things that blew my mind because it was ultra light, little over 4,000 pounds. It was just very nimble. It was flickable. I don't know what it was about it, and it was just tight and smooth, and it did everything in the woods fantastic. Remember, if you don't know enough about me, I hunt for a living. It's one of the things I do. Content creation and hunting for my other channels, but it means that I spend 300 miles a week in the Georgia swamps, okay, in nasty, nasty stuff. I bought this truck when I moved down here to do that. Now, in northern Michigan, I could get by with a lot less truck to do a lot of different things when I lived there. Down here, I needed capability. The Tacoma is known for capability, so I needed that. And this one, light, nimble, flickable. It went through this stuff really good. It went through sand really well, which a lot of sand roads. It went through the swamp mud good without sinking too bad. It did very well, so I was very impressed with that. The other nice features on this, too, it was built well. Okay, you see that right here. It was definitely a built well truck. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying quality. I'm just saying that it was put together. It was well. It did everything good. It had been around for so long that everything fit the way it was supposed to. It worked the way it was supposed to. It was, you didn't have a whole lot of issues with it. There weren't a bunch of things to worry about or contend with or wish were different. It was just fine-tuned as far as it went. The transmission issues were fixed. The seats, power seats were added. It had the LED fog lights. I had to add LED headlights, but it had things going for it already. So it was getting there. Okay, it was actually pretty decent. I was impressed with what I was getting is what I meant by that, what I mean by that. And then the torque vectoring limited slip differential in the front. Now, it doesn't have a front locker. Okay, that kind of sucks. Toyota never offers a front locker in anything anymore, and it's ridiculous. Especially in today's world where so many other true off-roaders have a front locker. Toyota doesn't do it. You still get the torque vectoring LSD, limited slip differential. What that means is that when this thing is, when you got this thing stuck in that front wheels, instead of having just one front wheel trying to do this, as soon as it realizes this wheel's slipping, it applies the brakes to that, which that torque applied there, vector transfers over to this one and creates that LSD, and it uses the ABS system to work that back and forth, and it's not even close to having a front locker, but it's good. Okay, the system works really good. I really like that in it. It was very impressive, very happy with that. Next on our list here too was the rear locker. We did have a rear locker. I loved that it did. Okay, that was a mandatory requirement that we had that option in here. Again, you'll see some of this stuff in some of these videos as I roll through it. Again, just kind of for background on here as we're doing this. But the rear locker was a nice feature. We'll talk more about that on the negative side too, because the rear locker was one of the biggest nemesis of this truck, which we will dive into. Next one on here, rear seat storage was good. Rear seat under storage. Okay, there was a tremendous amount of room under this rear seat. I don't know if I show it in this video. I probably don't, but I have other videos that I could probably find, and I will link at the end. It shows you that. Let me try this actually. Let me go here and go to, let me do this. I'm going to go YouTube, and I'm going to go to my channel. Let me do this, and then we're going to go here, right to my channel, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to hang on here, Tacoma storage. See what that says. Brings up right here. So let me show you here. So you can see it in this one. You'll be able to see there's storage in the back of this thing. Okay, the back end you can see I put molly panels in here to carry my shovel and my straps and some of the other things. I got my traction boards wedged up there in the front. More stuff over here. So it's kind of nice setup to be able to have that. But in the back seat back here, the under seat storage in this thing was pretty impressive. You're going to see it in a second, and that was a big factor. I really did enjoy that on this truck. It let me put a lot of things in here. We'll open this up and show you. You can see I got a lot of gear stashed in here, stuck in here, both sides. I got my straps and everything on there, and we got storage behind the seat that was big enough to fit like a whole tool bag back there. You had that lay flat back end with the hard plastic on here. So there's a lot of beautiful things to this factor here. We come over on this side, over here. You can see it when I flip this seat up. But you can see, look at all this storage compartment you have inside of here. That's a very nice setup. So the storage in this thing was, for its time, was phenomenal. Okay, I really was impressed. I really did enjoy it. I was very happy with that. Going back over to this one right here. We're still rolling on this video, but I want to pull that back up. The amount of cup holders were incredible inside of this vehicle. Okay, we have those front cup holders, back cup, or you basically had access to 4 cup holders plus door cup holders for us in this truck, which was just phenomenal to have the ability to have that. You can see them in here. We had the cup holder here, the cup holder here, the 2 right on the back of the console right here and right here. So we had 4 cup holders accessible. And you can see here, I got a pop I'm drinking. I got another pop that I haven't opened yet. I got all kinds of stuff, but you almost had 1, 2, and 3 if you count that square one. But you had 4 cup holders there, plus 2 in the back. So the cup holder, 2 in the back as far as accessible to you. So the cup holder amount in this thing was excellent. I absolutely love the amount of cup holders. Tina's 4Runner only has a couple up there, and it's very annoying if we want to have like a water and a pop, or a sweet tea and a water, things like that. You don't get that luxury for you to be able to reach them. So the cup holders were great. I liked the composite bed. I really did. I was a huge fan of it. It wasn't noisy. Nothing made a bunch of noise. Gave me a bunch of problems in here. It was easy to clean out. You can see I mounted the bed rail system. I put a mat in the back, but I was very impressed with that inside setup in here with the composite bed. I did not mind it at all. It had a little storage cubby in it, so that was a very good thing. The tie downs that I added were fantastic. So you've seen in this one here where we were just at, the tie downs that are in here, where I'm showing down here in the corner, right here, you see these tie downs? I added 2 more of those up in the front corners. In my opinion, any truck that doesn't have tie downs down low when they're only up high, this one had these already in the back, but in the front they're up higher. They don't have those, and I wanted them down low. So I actually took out the bed bolts that hold bolt the bed to the frame, which is what these are right here. I actually removed the front ones. I bought these exact bolts again from Toyota, these D-rings, and mounted them in the front, and then I cut out and notched the front end of this mat to do the same thing. It was a pain in the butt to deal with, but I actually did it so that I could have tie downs in the front. I added them. It was nice that they were there, but it was definitely upsetting that I had to add them, but it was there. So that was kind of a nice feature. When I had it set up the way I wanted, I was very happy. But with that composite bed, you get this storage compartment right here too. You had power in the back. That was nice. I never really used it, but it was nice to know it was there. And then the mods, okay, the things that you could do to this truck were nice. Like I said, I added the Molly panels in the back. I added the skid plates. I added the tonneau cover. Everything I could do to it. There's plenty, good front quality, flexible off-road mud flaps that would bend out of the way. Again, you can see the skid plate right here goes all the way across the Y pipe, goes all the way up to the front. These I added diff breathers to this and a rear differential because they're going through water and stuff, so that I could go deeper than what I needed to without worrying about the diff filling up with water. So all the things I did to this, which again is all videos of every bit of these things. If you have a third gen and you want to see this, I have videos of all of it on this channel. Just type in, go to my Tacoma playlist. They're all right there for you. The tires were easy. Everything about this thing was easy to modify and do things to, so I love that factor. And then we go over here, and the last one was the price. Okay, this price of this thing was phenomenal. I paid $37,800 for this thing in 2022. Loved it. That was incredible. I was very, very happy. Worked out really good. So those were the pros to this thing. That's what I loved about it. What did we hate? So let's dive into the hate factor of this kind of thing, the things that bothered me tremendously. So we scroll down here and we get into that section right here. Okay, first of all was a four-wheel drive system. Okay, yes, it had capabilities. When it was engaged and set up, it was good. But the four-wheel drive system was straight up annoying in this thing. We got another video right here that shows some of that. So we go right here, and I'm going to go into this spot right here. But you can see trying to get this thing to engage for low was an absolute nightmare. That's playing with some of the drive modes. But trying to get it to go into 4 low is a nightmare in a lot of situations. Okay, if you're not level and that kind of stuff, it's a struggle, and it just, it flashes at you and flashes at you. And then the same with the locker engagement. My God, the locker, trying to get a locker to engage in this thing, see how it just flashes at you, and you got to drive forward and backwards, and that red locker is just flashing at me, will not engage. I hated that. I hated it. It was the number one reason I sold this. I don't have the time to deal with this, and the truck would not let me use my rear locker even in 4 high. I had to go into 4 low and go through all this crap that you see going on here just to be able to do that. Was the biggest downfall of the Toyota Tacoma. For somebody like me who told you 300 miles a week in the swamps, I need to be able to use a locker in 4 high. And I've explained it in other videos. I don't need to sit here and explain to you why it's so important. Some of you guys are like, well, if you're really off-road, you're going to be at 4 low anyway. You have no idea. Okay, you have no idea what it's like to be down here doing this kind of stuff. And I've explained it in many other videos. You're welcome to go watch them and learn if you want to. I don't have the time to explain it to you here. But just know that the locker engagement, horrible on this truck, and it's still that way now. I just watched a video of TFL on a brand new Land Cruiser. He can't get it to go into 4 low. He was exhausted trying to, and same thing with the locker engagement. They didn't make it any better. Okay, it still sucks. Toyota four-wheel drive systems straight up do suck. Okay, once they're engaged, they're gold. But you better engage everything you want before you get to an obstacle, and then it's going to be a lot of rocking back and forth and everything. I don't like it. Okay, it's one of the biggest downfalls to the Toyota was that. Next on our list right here, the locker engagement. I just explained those two together. The rear seat space is another big one. Okay, when we look, do I got somewhere that shows the inside of this in here in the back end? I probably do somewhere in this video. I'm wondering, and maybe I don't, but that's okay because we can go back to this one. That's why I have them set up this way. And when we look in the inside of this, in the back seat, back here, look at how little this is. Now, I'm only 5'6". Okay, I'm only 5'6" in height. That driver's seat is set up for where I am. And look at, I can barely fit a pair of size 10 lightweight snake boots to fit between the seats. I mean, look at how tight this is. And these seats are set in the same spot for my wife, who's 5'3", and me who's 5'6", and these are the positions we're in, and it's horrible. The back seat space is straight up unusable, horrible in these trucks as far as being able to use. That's definitely a downside. Now, the more downsides, let's go into here, is the paint. Okay, I talked about this many times. The paint scratches on these so easy. When we're off-roading, where it's common to get a little, we call it pinstriping, but you try not to get it, but get some branches rubbing against the paint, things like that. Stone chips, you're going to have roots kick up, things like that. I have owned over 37 brand new vehicles now, brand new trucks, okay, between me and my wife, my daughter, but 37 of them I bought. Nobody's paint is as bad as what was on this Tacoma. Now, my wife, we still have her 4Runner. 4Runner paint's phenomenal. Paint on her 4Runner is phenomenal. The paint out of my Tacoma, which was made in Mexico, horrible. Worst I've ever seen. The seating position is another one on here too. That front seating position, which I don't really have anything in here that's going to show you that, but the front seating position is very car-like, and a lot of people like that, and I didn't even mind it too bad. It didn't like really devastatingly bother me. Look, I'm talking about the paint right now on this video. See all the look at those scratches. They go straight to white. It's unbelievable, and they're barely touched. I'm so careful with that stuff to try and preserve it, and it just gets scratched so easy. I hated the paint. But the seating position, like many people said, is kind of a pain in the butt. There's no doubt about it. It is not truck-like by any means. It is more like a car. You feel like you're sitting in a Honda Civic when you're driving this thing, which is not a bad thing. It's just not truck-like. Okay, so that was something that did bug me. Every time I get in Tina's 4Runner, I'm like, this feels way more like a truck than my Tacoma truck does. And at the time I had this, before she bought that 4Runner, I had we had a 2019 Ram 2500. Going from this to her, that was Tina's, but going from my Tacoma to her Ram 2500, it was embarrassing, the seating position. And then, so next one on our list, we have right here is the value. This, everybody's like, oh, Toyota holds their value. Maybe they do for some people, but I buy a new car every 18 months to 2 years, okay? I have made money, like bought brand new and sold. For the last 10 vehicles, I have made money or broke exactly even on it and not lost a penny. This Tacoma, I lost $5,200 after driving this for 18 months, or almost 20 months, 58,000 miles and getting rid of it, and I lost money. The first time I did. Now, thank God I was still in the green by like $9,000 from my other vehicles over the last decade, that I was able to swing by and it still not put me in the red, but it took half of my profits away from all these vehicles by this one truck. So for me, it was the worst value truck I've ever owned. Some people are going to say too, well, I bought mine in 2006 and I drove it for 25 years, for 20 years, and I just sold it and I got more than I paid. Of course you did. Any truck I bought in 2006 for the price I bought it for, if I drove it and sold it now, I could probably sell it for more than I paid for it. Okay, it's just the way inflation and stuff works. But for me, the problem is Toyota doesn't discount. You can't negotiate Toyotas down more than a couple of grand. And I bought mine right after COVID when there were shortages. I got just a smidge under MSRP, but there was really not the flexibility. So that's the part that killed me. That was a crush. But for me, the value of the Tacoma, the third gen Tacoma, it sucked. But I have to go based on, like I said, my own experience. And it was horrible. Call it the timing, call it whatever you want. Absolutely horrible. Next one on there is the shocks, okay? Again, 300 miles of swamp stuff. But in that time frame, I went through, I blew out 3 different shocks, all replaced under warranty. But I blew 3 different shocks out of this thing in that time frame. So that was very, very upsetting, kind of annoying. Let's go to this other video here just to give you something different here. But that was definitely pretty upsetting. Next one on our list here is the springs. Okay, I don't have that video pulled up. I could actually, let me see if I want to do that real quick here. But if we go here and we type in Sumo, you will see Sumo Springs. It's just going to pop mine up right here. Let's just see here. Samco. See if it's going to pop up on this one. Right here. See, I had to put Sumo Springs in on mine. Okay, I had to put these in just to pull my 3,000-pound trailer. Remember, this thing's rated to tow like over 6,000 pounds. But I had, there's my Ram 2500 in the back. You see it. But I had this 2,900-pound pressure washing trailer that I towed daily. And look at the squat on this thing was unbelievable. And it was riding on the bump stops every single minute that trailer was hooked up. Boom, 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 boom. It was just the worst ride with that simple lightweight 3,000 or 2,900 pound trailer on it. So I put those Sumo springs in. Okay, they basically just go right in. They're going to pop in. I think I show you here. Right here, they're going to go in. Okay, we're going to replace these bump stops right here. But I was always riding on those bump stops. So replacing them out with those Sumo springs made a huge difference for me. We showed the difference. I actually measured it, but you can see much better, less sag. And you can see them in here. Somewhere in here, right there, you can see them. Now, the truck is still sitting on them because you can see that in a Tacoma, the springs, the rear leaf springs are basically straight already. Look at how straight that is. They're almost like negative bend backwards, and you can see I'm riding on the Sumo springs, but it made a tremendous difference that I had to do that. So the shocks and the springs on this truck were not very impressive, not even a little bit. They bugged me tremendously, and like I said, I had to put new shocks in them, and it cost me $270 and an hour of my time to put Sumo springs on it to fix something that I should not have had to mess with whatsoever. So we go back over to here. And let's see what else we got on here. Hang on, because we'll get into the exhaust, which I think is what's coming up next in our list. Shock springs. Oh, the MPG computer. It bummed me out the fact that this thing would always reset every time you filled the gas tank up. Every other vehicle I own, it can run for tank after tank after tank, and I can just look at it after a month and it gives me a good average. No, this one resets every time you fill it up with gas. Hated that. It was just ridiculous and boring. And then the view from the windshield. I think I show that somewhere in one of these videos in here too when we look here. But the view from the windshield is the whole view out of the truck, if you look at it here, these windows are small. The angle of this makes it small. The distance from the roof to the bottom of the door, and then the fact that you sit so low on the ground of this thing. Vision out of this truck was, I didn't realize it till I stopped driving it, but it was dismal. It was not very impressive. It worked. I'm not taking anything major away from it, but when you go from this to a Gladiator, it's unbelievable. The view is absolutely horrendous in this compared to what it was in the Gladiator, and now since I know that and I pay attention to it, I've been in every single other new midsize for 2024, every single truck out there, and I've drove every one of them, and they're all better than this as far as the view. So the view in this is definitely not that impressive, and if you got a TRD Sport where you got the hood scoop on here too, it gets even worse. But it is like I said, that may not be a big factor for a lot of people, and some people say, well, you're short. But keep in mind, I had power seats, and I could crank them all the way up to the point where my legs were almost against the steering wheel. I could see short wasn't an issue here. It's the design of it made it very tough for the windshield. And then the seats. You notice in here too, in these videos that I have in the front of this, you can see right here, I have seat covers in here, okay, rough country seat covers. I have a video on how to put them in there. I put them in there the second week I bought this truck. I always run seat covers because they were protective, but in this one, in mine, because of pressure washing and the chemicals, but in here, I had to, because I noticed right after I bought it, on these cloth seats, that like if I had Velcro on the back of my pants pockets or anything like that, it was shredding. It was literally shredding. Like I took a wire brush and scraped it on my seats and peeled it all up and all that kind of stuff. It was doing that right where my pockets are on my pants in only 2 weeks. Again, 37 new trucks and vehicles that I have owned. Never once. And I only put car seats or seat covers in my trucks recently when I started pressure washing and doing that kind of stuff. And the Cherokee Trailhawk I had before that was doing it with head leather, so I didn't need them. But in here, I wanted to protect those seats from those chemicals. But while I was waiting, just waiting for these seat covers to come in, that little bit of pocket activity from Velcro being on my pockets shredded the seats in there pretty good to the point where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Now, on the other side of that, the 4Runner is 2 years old right now, 38,000 miles on it. I drive it. It's our family vehicle, and it doesn't have seat covers in it, and I have not one mark, and I wear those same pants all the time. Okay, not one mark, but on the seats in the Tacoma, It shredded them like within 2 weeks. It was noticeable. You could see it scuffing up really bad in there and starting to mess that material up. That was a definite bummer for me, but the seat covers solved that. Skid plate and Y pipe. That's the one I was going to tell you about on here too, and I showed it in this video. Right in here, the exhaust. Okay, that's one of the downsides to this thing for sure. You can see how far down this exhaust pipe hangs, and my skid, I even got the skid plate that covers it. But not only that, you have these cross members that hang down real low. You got these extra pipes coming in here. There's just a lot of crap going on underneath the Tacoma. Look at how my skid plate goes from cross member to here. Look how low down that skid plate is to be able to meet all of this stuff going on under here. Look how little that is under there. It's like I said, it's kind of pretty sad with everything that's going on underneath this truck from an off-road standpoint. And like I said, you can see that the skid plate actually protects the Y pipe, which hangs down even lower than it. But look at all of this. Look at all this dead space because of these really low cross members and that skid plate having to be there. Very much bummed me out that I had to add all this, but on this truck, I wasn't going to not have the skid plates. I didn't want to catch a stump on this cross member or this cross member. I didn't want to land on a stump or a rock with this Y pipe and break nothing. This is very upsetting right here in this truck as far as I'm concerned. And that skid plate was beat up bad. And I don't rock crawl. I don't do anything with rocks, just normal stuff. But it was pretty shredded out when I got rid of this truck. So that was definitely a bummer on there. And limited tire size to 32s was another issue here. This truck, again, I'm in the swamp. You can see here, I'm dealing with a lot of crap here that I'm going through. And 32-inch tires, look how deep that hole is that I'm in. Okay, but I mean, these 32-inch tires just don't cut it trying to drive through this stuff. I needed more clearance. Yeah, it had 9.4 inches of ground clearance. And these are 32s that are on it. They were the biggest I could put. 32-inch E-rated tires on them, best I could possibly do. But driving through this crap all the time, and then you hit a wash in there, and you're dropping down, and the first thing you're going to smash on when this drops down is you're going to hit that cross bars, the skid plate, the Y pipe, and all that. It just was an annoying pain in the butt to deal with a lot of that stuff that was under there. Left a lot to be desired with some of those kind of things. This was another one. Notice right here, okay, I had to install my own. I had to order the part from Toyota, rip all of this apart, run wiring harnesses from the back all the way up to the whole front of the truck. I had to do everything to get that tailgate to lock, or to get the auto tailgate to lock. Otherwise, the tailgate was key only. I had to, every time I wanted to get in and out of there, and you can see, look at the gear I'm carrying back here. Okay, I don't want to leave this stuff unlocked. I got all kinds of stuff, tree stands back there and things like that. I don't want to have it unlocked. I should be able to hit the button on my key fob and have it lock my tailgate too. It didn't do that. I had to pay $200 and something for that mechanism that goes in there, rip everything apart, spend a couple hours rewiring all this stuff with the wiring harness and put everything together to get it to give me a locking tailgate when I hit my key fob. That was just stupid and it drove me nuts. So there it is. That's basically kind of covers our whole list on this truck right here. We've got everything covered. There's the stuff that I hated about it. There's the stuff that I loved about it. Would I buy it again? Would I buy another one of these right now? Yeah, I would. Why? Because the pros outweigh the cons. It was a reliable vehicle. When you got it in four-wheel drive and you got past the quirky, stupid parts of getting it into the four-wheel drive system, it performed flawlessly. Is it robust? Robust enough compared to a lot of vehicles. It was tight. It stayed tight. It drove well. It was quality and that kind of stuff. Toyota's got a lot of quirks. I don't think there's any real benefit to Toyota anymore now that this is gone. But in this generation, this truck was built to last, made to do it all. It did it all well, and it just kept going like a billy goat. You just couldn't stop it, and I love that factor of it. I was very impressed with this. The other thing was my hitch rusted out horribly. This whole thing was all rusted out, which drove me nuts on there, but it was a good truck. And I would, yes, buy it again. Do I think if you own a third-gen Tacoma that you're in good shape? Yes, I do. They are a fantastic truck. Am I happy that I sold it? Yes, I am. Am I happy I bought a Gladiator instead of this? Yes, I am. Do I like my Gladiator more? Yes, I do. But again, could I fault this truck really? I mean, every vehicle's got its quirks and its problems. Could I really fault this? Not too much. Like I said, it did everything I wanted it to do, and expecting to see some of the fit and finish issues here. Again, Mexico trucks. Okay, it is what it is. That stuff doesn't really bother me that much. I love this thing. It was a fantastic truck, served me well, and it did a great job. But this is the honest, straight to the point, every piece of detail, start to finish, that I can give you on it, and what I thought. So, all right, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.